For years, Sri Lanka was overlooked by tourists in favour of its northern neighbour, India. But with its tropical climate, stunning beaches, and beautiful landscapes, the small island has now become the must-visit location in South Asia. I recently returned from a 2-week trip to Sri Lanka, and I was surprised to discover that despite its size, the country is packed with places to see and things to do. So in this video, I wanted to share with you my top 7 things to do while you're in Sri Lanka. Up first is whale watching. Sri Lanka is one of the best places in the world to see these gentle giants. And the number one spot is Mirissa. Catch a boat from the harbour, head out to sea, and look out for blue whales, dolphins and turtles. You'll be out on a boat for about 7 hours, so even if you don't normally get seasick, I'd recommend taking travel sickness tablets. But it's worth it for the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to spot whales out in the open. While we were there, we were lucky to see a pod of orcas. Make sure you book your visit to coincide with the whale watching season, which only runs from November till April. Up next, take a ride on one of the country's world-famous trains. Sri Lanka boasts some of the world's most scenic train routes. While we were there, we caught 2 trains during our visit. The coastal route from Colombo to Galle, and the journey from Kandy to Negombo through tea plantations and rice paddies. With amazing views the whole way, and the opportunity to hang out the open doors, it's easy to see why these journeys are so famous. We didn't take the most famous route from Kandy to Ella, but apparently it gets so busy that you have to queue up to reach the open doors. But we didn't have that problem. This is something you have to do while you're in Sri Lanka. Up next, join a cooking class. While we were in Galle, we joined a local family who showed us how to make traditional Sri Lankan food. We met our host at the market, where we picked up fresh vegetables for our lunch. He then invited us into his home, where he taught us how to cook authentic Sri Lankan dishes with the ingredients we'd just bought. Even if you're not into cooking, it's a great opportunity to learn about Sri Lankan food and culture, followed by a delicious lunch at the end of it.
Oh yeah!
Next up, see the sunrise from the top of Adam's Peak. The climb up this sacred mountain is one of the most popular experiences in Sri Lanka, but it's also one of the most challenging. There are more than 5,000 steps to the top, covering about 7 kilometers, so be prepared for an exhausting climb. It can take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to reach the top, so start your climb at 2 AM to allow enough time to reach the summit for sunrise. But it's worth it in the end for the sense of accomplishment and the beautiful view of the sunrise from the top. A quick tip, I recommend going up with a guide who'll help you avoid the crowds. Go up unaccompanied and you risk getting stuck in a 6-hour queue to the top. Next up, climb Sigiriya Rock. Less challenging than Adam's Peak, Sigiriya is another iconic climb in Sri Lanka. Make sure you head down early as it can get very hot in the afternoon. And while the climb is not as strenuous as Adam's Peak, it can still be very challenging in the heat.
I'm sweating so much.
At the top, you'll see the ruins of the old fortress and enjoy the 360-degree view of the surrounding area. Up next, go on an elephant safari. If you're only going to do one thing from this list in Sri Lanka, make sure you go on a safari where you'll have the opportunity to see elephants in the wild. There are many national parks offering wildlife safaris in Sri Lanka, but while we were there, we visited Udawalewe. Hop onto a jeep and take the 2-hour journey through the national park, looking out for birds, buffaloes, reptiles, and the main attraction, elephants. While we were there, we saw dozens of elephants in the wild, including 2 babies. This was easily one of the most memorable experiences during our visit to Sri Lanka, and definitely one not to miss. Finally, take a trip to the beach. Sri Lanka has many of the most beautiful beaches in the world, so if you're looking for an escape from the hustle and bustle of the cities, you're spoiled for choice. We visited several beaches while we were in Sri Lanka, but my favourite was Mirissa. Climb out to Parrot Rock for beautiful views of the beach as the sun goes down. So those are my top 7 things to do in Sri Lanka. I hope you found this video useful, and if you have any other recommendations of your own, then comment them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.